What is going on, you guys? My name is Justin, but you can call me J Swag, and welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk with Swag. Appreciate you stopping by, giving a listen, and hanging out with us tonight. Um, Listen, the Royal Rumble is right around the corner here. It's this Sunday night, and it's going to be an interesting pay per view. Royal Rumble is typically my favorite pay per view of the year, just for the surprise element factor of it, and just the Royal Rumble match itself is always exciting, and it gets the excitement and build going for WrestleMania. Um, and yeah, this it's going to be an interesting one this year. I don't think it's going to be bad. I want to say that right off the top. Um, and I'm talking about the entire pay per view as a whole, not just the namesake matches. But it's anyone's game, I think, for more so for the men's than the women's. But for the men's, there's like 4, 5, 6 different guys that you could convince me could win, which typically is only like 2, maybe 3. So that's nice. It's exciting in that realm to have there be an element of an extra layer of an element of surprise and just kind of intrigue. Um, but yeah, I guess really just without beating around the bush, I'm just really nervous for this Goldberg Drew McIntyre match. And I'm just nervous about their plans with Goldberg in general, because apparently he's pretty much a lock at this point for WrestleMania, to have a WrestleMania match. So I don't really know what that's going to be, but I can't imagine it's going to be very good. Um, but without getting ahead of myself, let's just kind of real quick, for anyone who's never listened to one of these kind of episodes before, what we do is try to just preview the night for you as much as we can. So I have the entire match card written down. I'm going to go match by match, not only give you my prediction for who will win each match, but also just try to catch you up to date a little bit storyline wise, and just give you some context and clues and any kind of rumors that we may be hearing, and just kind of my general feeling for it. Yeah, just to try to give you the best preview I can. I know most of my listeners don't watch wrestling, so I try to keep you informed and let you know what's happening, and kind of make it as relatable and understandable for you guys as I can. But yeah, so only 5 matches on the card right now. Can't imagine there will be many more. There may be like 1 extra match added, maybe for like a pre-show, but at this point I don't see them putting anything else on the main card, because you have 2 world title matches, a tag title match, and then the 2 Rumble matches. So yeah, you're probably not going to see a whole lot else, which is good though. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I can't imagine they'll put many other matches, if any. But yeah, so without any further ado, let's just hop right into it with our first match, which is, and this isn't the order. We don't know the order, but this is just how they were listed on Wikipedia. So we have Roman Reigns defending his Universal Championship against Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. And for those who don't know, last man standing match is it's no disqualification, no count out, no submission, no pinfall. So anything goes, and the way you win is if your opponent cannot make it to their feet by the count of 10. So it's a little bit more like an old school boxing match in that sense. So they usually get fairly physical, and they'll have this match in particular. I think especially just with who's in it, specifically Kevin Owens, we'll probably see 1 or 2 big spots. Kevin Owens definitely going to take at least 1 huge bump, I'd have to imagine. but yeah, so that's for the Universal title match. Obviously, it was originally supposed to be Adam Pearce. Um, in kayfabe, it was originally supposed to be him, but then basically tricked Reigns into signing a contract with Kevin Owens instead. So this is the third title match between these two, and in my opinion, hopefully the last one. Just because I've fully and completely enjoyed this feud and the whole storyline with them. But I just am hoping that we can move on from it because we don't want to drag it out too long and oversaturate it. Yeah, because again, it's been a great feud, but you don't want to kind of overdo it and make people kind of sick of seeing it. So I am very excited for this match. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be really physical, like I said. I will say I was a little upset that we didn't get Nakamura in this match. Maybe they're saving it for later. Maybe they have other plans for him. Hopefully, he's still going to get an extended push because it looks as of right now he's getting a push and a potential babyface turn. His original entrance music is back, and he's been acting a lot more like a babyface than a heel recently. He but he won the gauntlet match. Technically, he made it to the final round of the gauntlet match on SmackDown a few weeks ago. And then Adam Pearce was supposed to be the last person. And then basically Reigns and Jey Uso came out and just like destroyed Nakamura, and then destroyed Adam Pearce as well, and then just like laid him on top of Nakamura so that he was the winner. I don't know. Yeah, it just felt like it was a little bit of a bait and switch just to get us back to Kevin Owens. And again, like I said, I don't think anyone's upset with getting another Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match because the first two were excellent matches. But it's just I think everyone was like, oh my gosh, yes, Nakamura getting a push. He's in the world title scene now. This is awesome. So again, I'm hoping that means that it's going to lead to bigger and better things for Nakamura moving forward. But at the end of the day, in terms of predictions, I think it's fairly obvious that Roman Reigns is going to win here. I think he's going to hold the title well through WrestleMania and probably till SummerSlam, if I had to guess. At least, that's what I want. I want him to have a lengthy title run. But yeah, at this point, I think Reigns is going to win. I think KO is going to kind of just like their match at TLC. He's going to keep getting up and keep fighting. As has kind of been a theme throughout their feud. But then there's going to be one last big spot. Probably Jey Uso is going to get involved. Maybe we'll see Adam Pearce and Heyman get involved as well. But yeah, I'm hoping and I'm expecting a really good match between these two because they haven't disappointed since this feud started. So yeah, I have high hopes and high expectations, and I think they're going to meet it. I think this is going to be a great match. Next up, all right, here we go. So next up is Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. And obviously we know this match is not going to go more than 5 minutes because Goldberg I don't think he's literally ever had a match go over 5 minutes in his entire career. And listen, to start off, I'll say, excuse me, I am not even remotely looking forward to this match. I am not excited at all. I don't think it's going to be very good. We'll see. There's one option that I think could make it good, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I understand from Vince McMahon's mindset. I know why he booked this match and why he brought Goldberg back, because he saw the massive ratings dip on Raw, and he's like, well, everyone loves Goldberg, so we'll bring him back and have him be in a title match, which is I guess maybe all the old heads will like it who watch WCW, or maybe the younger kids may like it, I guess, because he's a legend, but I think a lot of fans, though, most fans really, are not excited for this at all. and are not looking forward to this. Again, myself included. Um, so I'll say the only outcome the only kind of match that they could have that I would be excited about after the fact and enjoy would be a squash match with Drew coming out on top. But again, I don't see that happening because Goldberg has only lost once since coming back, and that was to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania a few years ago, where he dropped the Universal title to him. But outside of that, it's pretty much just been squash matches in Goldberg's favor. And knowing that they have plans for him at WrestleMania makes me think that they won't have Drew squash him, because then, it's kind of hard to make him look as big of a badass as he has been if he kind of just gets squashed. I get it. It's to Drew McIntyre. It's to the current WWE champion, but I don't know. I feel like we're probably basically just going to get like a carbon copy. If I had to guess, we're going to get like a carbon copy of Drew's match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania from last year, where Drew beat him and won the title, where it's basically like it's hot and heavy and quick, and action packed, where it's like, I think Drew hit like a Claymore right out of the gate, and then Lesnar hit like 3 F5s and Drew kicked out of all of them, and then McIntyre hit 3 Claymores, and then like that was it. That was your lot. So that's my guess, is that we'll probably get Goldberg on the offensive right out of the gate, probably hit like a spear and then maybe even a jackhammer as well, go for the pin. Drew kicks out at like 1, because that was what happened at WrestleMania. He ate an F5 and kicked out at 1. And then maybe another spear, and then another kick out at 2. And then like McIntyre hits like 3 Claymores, and then we're done. So at the end of the day, it is really hard to pick against Goldberg just because of his track record. And it's like, why would Vince McMahon not do this? Like, of course, he's just going to ruin another person's momentum and title reign. Similar to what he did with Kevin Owens a few years back. But I think they have enough sense now, and I think they have enough trust and belief in McIntyre and in his reign and in his popularity that they won't put Goldberg over. So my guess here is Drew to win and retain the title in a match very similar to his with Lesnar at WrestleMania. So not necessarily a squash match, but not a lot of offense going on, and it's only going to be about 3 to 4 minutes long. So yeah, I don't really care what happens as long as Drew comes out on top. I don't really care what happens in the match, because I know it's not going to be exciting to watch. So I just want the right outcome. And then the final non-namesake match is excuse me, goodness. Asuka and Charlotte defending their women's tag team championships against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I got to be honest. So, I haven't been watching Raw at all. I've been trying to watch SmackDown and keep up with that more, just because the product is way better. But I just completely forgot, honestly, that Asuka and Charlotte even had the tag titles. I kind of forgot they were even a thing. I have pretty much since they came into existence, because no one cares about them, including the people who hold them and including the creative team and including Vince McMahon. It's just, there has never been a single feud or storyline involving them. It's just 2 people win them, and then they don't do anything with them, and then 4 months later they defend them against a random team and lose them. And that's what happened here and how they won them, and all of a sudden now Jax and Baszler are getting a rematch for them. Don't know why or how that happened. I don't know. They just all of a sudden get to fight for them. And at this point, it doesn't even matter who wins, because nothing's going to come out of it. Because at this point, winning or losing the titles has literally meant nothing for any woman's career or push or not push. So I have Charlotte and Asuka retaining, just because, like, why not? Keep Asuka as a double champion because they seem to love doing that now. So yeah, sure. Like, Charlotte and Asuka to retain. I have zero excitement for this match. This is going to be the big toilet match. This is either going to go on first, or it's going to be the kind of in-between match between the Rumbles. Again, to give people time to kind of come down from one of the Rumble matches. If I had to guess, I'd say the order of the matches is probably going to be the tag match first, and then Reigns versus Owens, then the Women's Rumble match, then the WWE Championship match to give people a chance to come back down, and then end with the Men's Rumble match, if I had to guess. But anyways, so yeah, Charlotte and Asuka to retain in a snoozer. Next up is the Women's Rumble match. And so as of right now, as of recording on January 27th at 7:22 p.m., 12 of the 30 entrants have been confirmed. Nia Jax, Charlotte, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Peyton Royce, Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Tamina. So given that, you have to imagine that they're going to fill most of it out then with people like Billie Kay, Natalya, Lacey Evans, Sonya Deville, Lana, Rhea Ripley will probably get maybe you'll have a couple more fillers from NXT, like Io Shirai, maybe, but maybe not because she's the NXT Women's Champion. But maybe like Xia Li, Dakota Kai, people like that. And then it also leaves a little bit of room for people like Kelly Kelly, Trish Stratus, Eva Marie, and Michelle McCool to make a nice cameo or a return to the company. Obviously, that being Eva Marie is rumored to have re-signed with the company. The others would kind of just be legends coming back for a nice cameo. Like last year we saw Michelle McCool come back. I think it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, and really do well and be on there for a while. We saw Beth Phoenix in there for a while. She lasted to like the top 4 or 3, even with a busted head. So yeah, definitely room for a couple of surprise entrants, but nothing really major. I'd say probably a 5% chance that Becky Lynch returns at the Rumble. But she just had a kid in December, so it just seems really premature for her to be back. And I think with Becky's return, or with her eventual return to the company, I think you're probably going to want to, like, if she were to come back at the Rumble and then be full-time after that, like, you're probably going to want to have her win it, just because having her make... And it's not even, I mean, I guess it is a long awaited return. I mean, she left in like May. So having her make a long awaited return at a pay-per-view like Royal Rumble in the match and not win it, I feel like would be a little bit of a bummer. I mean, listen, it wouldn't be huge because, Edge came back after 9 years last year, didn't win it, but still got everything you could have hoped out of a return in the Rumble for him. But it's just with Becky being who she is and being a complete full-timer, and having left the title scene, like when she left, she was in the title scene. It'd be hard. I think it'd just be a little hard to have her come back and not win it. But again, she's maybe a little over a month out, maybe 2, close to 2. From giving birth to a kid. So, like, I don't know if she's ready to come back full-time to the company anyway. So, again, highly unlikely, but that's the only real big, like, whoa moment I think we would get. I mean, you'll obviously get a pop for someone like Trish Stratus or Kelly Kelly or Beth Phoenix. But outside of that, like, no one's going to be like a big, like, oh my gosh, it's her kind of moment. My prediction for the final four is Bayley, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Sonya Deville. And my prediction is that Bianca Belair will win the Rumble, and then go on to, I don't know, probably challenge Sasha if she still has the belt, but maybe they have her drop it before WrestleMania. But I don't know. At this point, I feel like typically once you get to the Rumble, whoever comes out of the Rumble with the title, they're going to hold it until Mania. So I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I also wouldn't be surprised at all, and I'm kind of almost going into it like half expecting it, if Charlotte goes back to back and wins another one, because she came back after like 4 or 5 months out, and her first match was winning the tag titles with Asuka. They haven't immediately put her back in title contention just because I think right now they have her as a babyface. Putting her with Asuka, there may be an eventual turn there and split, but I don't know. I don't know. It's Charlotte Flair, so it's kind of the same thing as like how Cena was about 10 years ago, where it's just like, of course they're going to win because it's just like they don't lose. So really don't be surprised if Charlotte wins here, but I'm really hoping they don't, and they give someone more up and coming a spot to shine like Bianca Belair. I would not be upset if any of the other Final Four win. I would not be upset with a Bayley or Sonya Deville win either. I'd actually be just as happy with a Sonya win because I love her and I think she's really, really good. And I think her versus Sasha Banks would be a really exciting program. And then obviously revisiting Bayley versus Sasha would be great too. But yeah, so that's my prediction for the Women's Rumble. And then finally moving on to the Men's Rumble, the last match that we have here. As of right now, 17 of the 30 entrants are confirmed, with those being Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Otis, The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Shinsuke Nakamura, Big E, John Morrison, Sheamus, Mustafa Ali, and Edge. Again, with this one, then you'd expect they'll fill it out with guys like Bobby Roode, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, Rey Mysterio, maybe one or two of the Street Profits, probably get Elias or Jackson Riker in there, King Corbin, Gable. A lot of those guys, like, they'll probably fill out majority of the rest of the Rumble. And then that leaves one or two spots, maybe three, for guys like Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman to make returns from time off. NXT surprises like Adam Cole, Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. Maybe you throw Dominic Mysterio in there. And then another kind of similar to Becky Lynch, but for different reasons. Very small chance we get a John Cena return here, because again, he is, I believe, almost confirmed as a lock for WrestleMania. But I don't think they would do that with Cena winning the Rumble. I mean, it'd be a great story to have Cena win the Rumble and then go on and beat Reigns at WrestleMania for the title and, get the record. But I think that would also just get a lot of boos. So maybe not. Again, yeah, I don't think it's likely that Cena returns at the Rumble. I think he probably will come back sometime mid-February and start a program with someone. But yeah, and then, so like Seth Rollins obviously has also been out on paternity leave with Becky. I think it's much more likely that he returns than Becky. And this is the perfect place for him to make a return. I'd say it's probably a 50% chance of him coming back. Braun Strowman has been out with injury. I don't know I don't know if we have any updates on his status, but he could be a nice little surprise return as well. But yeah, I think they're probably going to fill it out mostly with mid-card guys on the main roster and then have one or two spots for guys like from NXT. And then also don't be surprised for Lesnar or even Goldberg to be surprise entrants in the Rumble and also then go on to win the whole thing. I think Lesnar is much more likely than Goldberg because he's already, some people are saying maybe we'll have Drew kind of steamroll Goldberg in their match, and then Goldberg is a surprise entrant in the Rumble and then wins the whole thing and then goes and has his match at WrestleMania with Reigns. But I think it's much more likely that we get a Lesnar return and see him then kind of run the gauntlet and win the whole thing, and then maybe he goes for Reigns, but then you have a double heel main event. So then maybe he goes and comes back for Drew, comes back for his title. But I don't know. At this point, I don't even know if Lesnar is signed to the company. I don't know what their plans are for him and all that stuff. We haven't seen him since WrestleMania, so it's been 9 months since we saw him. 10, really, actually. Or no, 9. So to have him just come back, win the Rumble, and then just win his title back at Mania, I think it would be very much within reason for Vince McMahon. So who knows? But at the end of the day, my final 4 prediction is Big E, Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke Nakamura, and then Braun Strowman, just because I couldn't think of another one. I mean, those 3 of those 4 guys are SmackDown guys. I may actually replace Braun there with Sheamus, just because he's been getting a nice push, and he's kind of had some flirting with Drew McIntyre and his title. And I figured they won't have 4 SmackDown guys as the final 4. But, I mean, they won't also necessarily make a huge deal about the final 4. So, but yeah, I think for sure, I mean, at least my predictions, the locks are definitely Big E, Bryan, and Nakamura. And then I'll put Sheamus in there as well. That's the last one. I honestly can't tell who's going to win. Like I said at the top of the show, it's really kind of up in the air, and I really enjoy that because last year it was like, all right, either Lesnar's going to run the gauntlet or, as I correctly predicted, McIntyre's going to come in and win it because you kind of had the feel and the vibe. He was in a slow burn face turn and his popularity was skyrocketing, and it's like now is the time for them to capitalize and strike while the iron is hot. And it felt like it was that way with Shayna last year, but then of course Vince was Vince and just booked Charlotte to win it. So yeah, this year, I don't know. I could see Big E, Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke, Lesnar, Goldberg, all winning it. I'm trying to think of who else. I don't think they'd have Styles win it because he just had a program. Maybe Sheamus. Probably not, though. Maybe Edge. Very possible Edge as well. But yeah, so at the end of the day, though, I'm going to pick Daniel Bryan to win it because why the heck not? It's so up there, up in the air, and, who knows what it's going to be kind of vibe. So my guess is Daniel Bryan because it'd just be really nice to see him finally win a Rumble. He should have won back in, 2014? And then again, I think in 2015. I'm maybe getting my years wrong. But there's one where he wasn't even in the Rumble, and then there's another one where he was in it, but was in it for 10 minutes, and then I think Bray Wyatt just kind of tossed him out, and everyone kind of thought Bryan was going to win then. But that was the year he ended up winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, so that was fine. But at the end of the day, I think it's time for him to win a Rumble, and I think he's kind of red hot right now, and as he always is because he's a fan favorite. I think a Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns program would be awesome to watch, and I think we would most likely see Daniel Bryan putting Roman Reigns over as he kind of has been recently. I think it's no secret that he is very much on his way to a part-time schedule moving forward. So I think he's kind of doing his, what he wants, which is putting people over on his way out. So don't be surprised if we see him lose at WrestleMania, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. So I think it would just be awesome to end the night with a Daniel Bryan Royal Rumble victory. But I, wouldn't be upset with Big E or Nakamura either. But yeah, overall, last year's Rumble, the men's Rumble, was, I think, one of the best ones we've seen in a really long time. I think the go-to great ones are 92, 2001. I think those are the two big go-tos. And then what was the other one that Austin won? I don't remember which one it was. I think it was 98 or 99. But I think 2020 is up there too. I think it's very likely on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore for Rumble matches. So it's going to be a hard year to follow because last year was so good. I don't think it's going to be as good, but I think they can still put a lot of people over and make some stars of younger people or people who aren't necessarily getting a push. And they can still create some exciting moments. Same with the women's Rumble. I think with my prediction of Bianca going the distance, I think that would be great for her to kind of get that bump and that rub of a big push as a not so big star or name. Same with Sonya Deville. I would love for Charlotte to get knocked out early and not even have her be in the Final Four. Maybe end up with someone like Peyton Royce in the Final Four, or who else? A Liv Morgan or a Ruby Riott. That would be awesome. I'd love to see that. But we'll probably see Charlotte and Beth Phoenix in the Final Four. Because WWE is going to be WWE. But yeah, so that's the pay-per-view. That's all the matches. It's a lot easier, but also a lot more difficult to predict the pay-per-view, just because there's only 4 or 5 matches ever on the card, but you're predicting 2 matches that have 30 different possible victors. So, and you only know about half of the people who are even going to be in it. So it's fun to try to guess who else is going to be in it, who's going to make some surprise returns and stuff like that. But overall, as per usual, I'm really looking forward to it because, like I said, the Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view. It's just so exciting. So much intrigue and surprise to be had. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be watching it with some friends, eating some pizza like I always do. I think it's just going to be a really nice, good time. But anyways, yeah, I think it's going to be a good pay-per-view. So let me know who you think is going to win, any surprise entrants you think there's going to be. You can hit me up on social media. Instagram and Facebook are Sports Talk with Swag. Twitter is STWScast. You can send it in an email to sportstalkwithswag@gmail.com. And then while you're at it, make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify, and then you can subscribe anywhere else you get podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating wherever you can, or I will make you run the gauntlet with Brock Lesnar. And let me tell you, storyline, kayfabe-wise and real-life-wise, not going to end well for you. So just give me the 5-star rating, and then we'll be good. But yeah, so with that being said, I want to thank you guys for listening to this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.